All right. So now I'm going to look like the tool that wears the earpiece around everywhere. So just don't judge me for that.
Flex with the AirPods too.
No. These are what are these? JLab Audio. I've got a Google phone, so I'm one of those people. I'm one of the green text people.
Nice.
But it is it's legit a pet peeve of mine. I mean, it shouldn't be, but it is a pet peeve of mine for the people that walk around with like the Bluetooth earpiece. That was like definitely like 20 years ago thing. Like, why are you still doing that? Anyway,
judgment free zone.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So I got in. I had a buddy that worked for Stryker. Yeah. And it was like fifth year, senior year of college, and I didn't know what I was going to do for a career. And he's like, hey, he worked for Stryker. He's like, you should look into medical sales. So I just figured like I'd do that for a while until I figured out what I wanted to do as a real career. And then here I'm still doing.
Just kind of things just grew from there.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know like you can hear me talk about something, or you can hear other people give their thoughts on like what it's like to do a job or be in a certain career or go a certain career path. But like until you do it, you don't really know. So like I'll do whatever I can to share with you, my thoughts. But at the same time, like until you do it, you're like you can only do so much or know so much if like something is going to fit. So
for sure, you have to try it for sure.
Question for you. So you did 2 years of sales and then you traveled, right?
Yeah.
Why did you want to do sales? Like you said, the only 3 careers are liquor sales, med sales, and tech sales.
Yeah. So originally when I was in university, I thought I wanted to be a physiotherapist. So that's why I did my undergrad kinesiology. That's kind of my end goal the whole time. But I just realized like I did so many extracurriculars. I joined so many clubs. I got so involved that throughout undergrad as I progressed, like I realized I loved like selling the tickets, like marketing our events, reaching out to new people, getting sponsorship from people. And coming from high school, I didn't even know really that was like a thing. And by the end where I like finished my undergrad, I was like my passion truly is like selling stuff and talking to people and networking. And so I was like, scratch the whole physio thing. Like it's still an interest of mine, but I think really my passion came from like not even like knowing, like I didn't even think I would be good at it, but just by, again, what you said, by doing it throughout the 4 years, I was like, I know this is what I want to do. It's just a matter of what industry. So thank God the university that I graduated from offered a marketing diploma program too, which was awesome. Like I learned so much from there. So I did that. And once I finished that program, I was like, I know, like I want to be in that industry. So like, I think pharmaceutical sales is great because my kinesiology degree isn't coming completely into waste. Like if I go into liquor sales, those 4 years, like I feel like I have an advantage. Like I do know some. Are you
sure you didn't get an education in liquor in college too?
Oh, I definitely did. Yeah, I like had 100% like 4-point GPA in two for sure. Yeah, no, I loved going out almost every day, but graduated on time, a good average. So so like liquor, no one's mad about talking about liquor too, and I think that's definitely like a huge interest of mine too, because it is big part of my life too. But I'm also super into like health and fitness, and just like finding value of helping people too. So that's kind of where I am. So that's why I know sales is definitely for me. Okay. And the difference between, like, another question I want to ask you is that, like, there's pharmaceutical sales, medical device sales, there's like medical therapies, there's so many things I didn't realize until doing my research, just like how many companies there are in the world and how many products they have. How did you like why do some people pick medical device over pharmaceuticals or pick some companies over others? Like, do you have any recommendations on kind of what to maybe steer away from, or like what's maybe an up and coming trend right now?
Yeah. I think probably it just happens to be like how they get their start in the industry. I know people that have done pharma sales and like that was their first gig, and then they just do that for their entire career. But I know other people that have started in pharma and then switched to med device or vice versa. I think the majority of it is probably just where they get their first start, pharma versus med device. But the day to day is a lot different. Now I haven't done pharma, so it's like I'm speaking a little bit out of turn and speaking just from like people that I've talked to and my general understanding of what the day to day looks like. But there are, I think the way that I would say you should think about it is, what do you want your actual day to day to look like? You know, like my understanding of a pharmaceutical rep, there's not a whole lot of service involved in selling pharmaceutical drugs. Like you're going to get a doctor to try to prescribe this drug, your drug, over somebody else's drug. But like they're going to be doing that while patients are walking in the door at their clinic. Like you're not going to be there like handing them the bottle, you know, like here, use this one. Like that's not going to happen, you know, versus, you know, the other extreme example would probably be like surgical sales, where you actually walk into the operating room with the doctor who's using your product and you're there, you know, assisting them and the staff in surgery. So, you know, and then there's a broad spectrum of somewhere in between based on, you know, you can sell hospital beds, you know, for example, you go to the hospital, but you're not going into the operating room, or you can sell, you know, shoulder slings and knee braces and things like that, where you might go meet with a patient at their home and fit them for a knee brace post like ACL reconstruction. So I think the way to think about it is, I would say first and foremost, getting your foot in the door in any, you know, med device or pharmaceutical is objective number one, because then you'd really be able to figure out, like, do I like this? Do I not like this? You know, should I continue down this career path or not? Once you're in the industry, like once you're in the quote unquote club, it's a lot easier to get your second job or move around. So like if you start in, you know, chances of you getting your, like the most ideal job for you day one is probably not that high. But after you've been in the industry and you put in a year or 2 years, maybe you figure out like, hey, I like this, I don't, and then you can move around.
Yeah, and I've talked to some people who have kind of gotten hired with a company who outsources reps to other companies. Do you know of anyone else that's done that? So they've been hired on by a company and then they kind of wait around until another company hires them to pitch as like one certain product. Have you ever heard of that at all, or no?
So a version of that, my understanding of like what I'm hearing you saying, is just a distribution group. So that's really common, common. So like, I started my career with Arthrex, which is the biggest sports medicine company in the world.
I looked into them. They look really, really cool.
Yeah, they have very few direct reps, direct employees. So it's almost all distribution groups. So like when I worked for them, I always worked for a company that was not Arthrex. It was, you know, Desert Mountain Medical, or it was, sorry, I'm getting a text from my boss. Asked me to jump on the WebEx later. Sorry about that.
Yeah, if you need to go at any point.
No, I've got time. It was Desert Mountain Medical. It was Midwest Associates. Like, those are the companies that I worked for, but they were the exclusive distributor of Arthrex's products. So it's really common. I mean, it's just a strategic move that the manufacturer of the product, so like Arthrex, Smith & Nephew, Zimmer Biomet, Stryker, Medtronic, Pew, Mytex, you know, all of those companies, a number of them will have direct sales forces for some of their products and like distribution groups for others. So it's just it's a strategic move, business decision on their part.
Gotcha. Okay.
That shouldn't be something that, in my opinion, I don't think you should be too concerned about it. Because a lot of people say like this sounds sketchy or whatever. Like, I get how it can sound that way, but like that's normal for the industry.
Yeah, gotcha. When you first started out, so you probably would have been like young, like 20s too, right? Right out of college?
22, 23, one of those,
So when you first started out, did you have to pitch all of your doctors right away, or did someone hand you some accounts, or did you like shadow someone? And was it really, really intimidating starting out? And how did you kind of like build your portfolio?
I mean, it was quite intimidating, but like I was an associate rep, and that's pretty standard. Like you'll probably start as an associate rep if you want to go this route, as an associate rep that works under a territory manager. And like the way to think about it is, if I'm a territory manager and I'm hiring an associate rep, I'm not going to walk them in and hand them customers. Like you may seem nice in an interview, but you don't know anything. Like, what am I going to do? If I literally just say, all right, I've got this territory in this book of business, and I'm going to let you take over this part of it. Like, nobody does that. Like, do you know the product? Do you know the anatomy? Do you know the doctors? Do you know how things work? Like, so nobody's going to hand you that responsibility day one. Like, regardless of how good they think you are going to be, nobody's going to hand you that.
Gotcha. And training-wise, like, do you spend a couple of weeks or even months kind of like doing your own education, your own training, like at your house or at like a facility where they educate you on the product, and then you train more of like the sales side of it? Or how does that training kind of work?
So I can tell you mine, but there is no standardized method. And I think a lot of it comes down to the size and the scale of the company. So if they're a bigger company, they're going to have a more structured training program and onboarding program for new reps, versus the smaller companies are going to be more like, figure it out. Like we don't have the resources and the structure to be able to do it. For me, it was, for me, and I know that Arthrex has gotten better at this, but they gave me a 3-ring binder. And they said, here, learn this.
Just do it.
And then, like I just sit at home and I learn it. And then, like the territory manager says, hey, we've got surgeries on this day and you're going to come with me. So then I would go with him and we'd go hang out in surgery and like, shut up, don't say anything, stand in the back of the room, just watch for the first 3 months. You're like, you almost don't exist for anybody else here. Like, until you... until you figure out what's going on, and until I have confidence that if I leave and you're the only person there and you're not going to screw things up, like, you're just hang out. So, and then every, sorry, it was
can you
cutting
see
out.
Me now?
And so then every company has like a standardized training that all reps have to go to. That's like 3 or 5 or 7 or 10 day programs at their headquarters. So
gotcha. And in your industry that you're in, like, what are some compromises that you have to make every day? Like early mornings? Is it long hours? Like every job has its pros and cons. I'm just trying to differentiate some of the more of the harsh realities between each of these industries that I'm interested in. So what do you think are some compromises that you've had to make for this?
There's definitely early mornings, definitely long hours, a lot of driving. I would say if you think about whatever it is that you want your day-to-day to look like you should probably pick like quote-unquote medical sales, a section of medical sales, or you should try to focus on getting into a section of medical